So you're probably somebody who wants to be fluent really badly, and maybe you've tried multiple times before, but you just never study. You can never bring yourself around to doing it. And there's a lot of reasons why, and today we're going to get into the main ones, and then we're going to talk about how to overcome them so they don't plague you anymore, and you can finally get to the level that you want to get regardless of the language that you're learning. So let's jump into it. I want to be fluent, but never study. So I had a student, okay? Actually, I still do. He's still in the community. His name is John, and he had a Duolingo streak for over 2,000 days. I say 2,000 days, but it was actually over, okay? 2,000 days. Must be since Duolingo came out, okay? He was learning Norwegian and 2,000-day streak, okay? 5.5 years of never missing a single day. This guy did it every single day. Now, John is a little bit older. He is retired, and he spent a lot of time doing this, and he had a lot of time to spend doing this. So that's John, okay? Might be similar to you. But at the end, he was just a high A2 by his own evaluation. I don't speak Norwegian, so I can't really tell, but by his own evaluation, he was about a high A2. Maybe on good days, very, very good days, he was B1 at very best, but that was really, really reaching pretty high. Here's what you need to understand, and here's what John needed to understand too, is you're not broken. There's things working against you, but you're not broken, and we're gonna fix those, okay? John's not broken either. He has more discipline than 99% of us. I mean, when's the last time, if you're being honest, when's the last time you did anything for 5 years every single day other than breathe, go to the bathroom, eat, whatever, right? It's not that common. So he's a lot of discipline, and hats off for that. Well, hat's still on. Anyway, the problem is the feedback loop you've been trusting, and we're gonna break that. So apps, a lot of people use apps like Duolingo or whatever. Apps give you the feeling of progress, but here's the thing. Streaks keep you coming back for the milestone, not the language itself. I'm talking 500 days, 1,000 days. Your brain files it as an achievement, but is that actually true? No, it's not, okay? XP inside of a video game or levels give you a dopamine hit every 60 seconds or less if they can squeeze more in, right? They can do more. If they squeeze in, they'll basically give you as much as they can. You feel smart before you've actually learned anything. And this kind of actually holds you back because you begin to attach the sense of achievement to the wrong thing. Every correct answer gets a ding, right? We all know that ding, green check mark. This guy right here, where's the green? Oh, this is the arrow. Ding, right? Okay, pretty ugly, whatever, we'll keep going. It all gets a ding and your brain wires it as I did it, rather, or whether or not you actually learned something, right? The ding is encouraging, but that doesn't mean you're actually moving forward in the metrics that matter to you in the language. Comprehensible input gives you actual progress. Now, I talk about comprehensible input on this channel because frankly, I think it's the most powerful thing you can do for language learning. Some people disagree with me. I've seen it time and time again. Comprehensible input gives you actual progress, okay? But it gives you that progress with no feeling attached. And let me explain this a little bit. It feels invisible, silent, slow, and that's on purpose. Now, to be honest with you, it's not actually slow, okay? Doing comprehensible input is not actually a slow process, but compared to an app that's going ding, 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 making you feel like you're making all this progress, yeah, it can feel slow. It can feel silent. It can feel invisible. But the reality is it's actual progress towards the place that you want to get to. Your brain is going to pick the app every single time. Why? Because it's dopaminergic. It's the thing that's going to stimulate the dopamine in your brain. So it's going to pick that every time over sitting there and doing your comprehensible input. Okay, more dopamine, less learning, that's the app. It's really stimulating, but you're not actually really acquiring a language. That's the way the app works. Less dopamine typically is more learning. That's real work. Now, it's not always less dopamine, but for the most part, if you're coming from an app or something like that, then yeah, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard to sit down and study, which is the whole point of this video. It's gonna be hard to sit down and study if all you're used to is this stimulating ding, 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 green check mark, so on and so forth, okay? But the real work happens, unfortunately, when you're feeling a little less dopamine to begin, and then more learning is actually happening. And that itself actually will create the dopamine cycle, right? So the way you can kind of look at it is almost like this. We'll use this color right here. So you start by actually doing some learning. And then what's going to happen is you make some progress. And then that is going to lean back to learning again. What you can see on screen, right? Here is where you learn and you begin to sit down and do some conscious work. And then what happens? You see progress. Okay, you don't need me to explain this to you. You probably already know this. When you do the work, you begin to see progress. And then the progress motivates you further, which then pushes you back to learning, right? So really, actually, there probably should be some sort of M somewhere in here, right? And that's actually the motivation. So what happens is basically you go learning, progress, motivation, learning, progress, motivation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and it continues. So to start, you do need to break that cycle of using these apps because yes, they can be fun, but it's not really pushing you forward in the language, okay? So your brain always picks the dopamine. When there's going to be this higher dopaminergic activity, it's going to be very hard to actually do the comprehensible input. And that just stands to reason. Hopefully you can understand that. But here's what real progress actually looks like so you can get a bit of an idea, okay? And these are approximations here. 0 to 300 hours-ish, you feel absolutely nothing. Now, that obviously is exaggeration. You don't actually feel absolutely nothing, but you'll see a lot of people doing these challenges online of, I did Dreaming Spanish for however amount of time, which is a Spanish comprehensible input service software package. That's what's going to be able to move you forward, is actually believing and then moving forward with it. Okay, so pure input, no external signal. 300 to 600 hours, what can we expect here? Well, passive comprehension starts clicking. You begin to actually hear things and you're like, oh, I know what that meant. You might even laugh at a show. You might even find yourself laughing or having some sort of reaction to something you're watching before it even registers what they're saying, just because it happens so quickly, right? The same way as I'm speaking English to you right now, and presumably if you're an English native speaker, you know what I'm saying, you understand what I'm saying without even having to think about it. It's just the concept is appearing in your mind at the exact same time. So a way we can look at it is basically like this. Over here is, let's say, the concept of, let's say, a dog. I'm going to draw a really ugly dog because I don't know how to draw. This dog's going to only have 2 feet because I'm too lazy to draw 4. I guess here's its body, head. We'll give it a beak. Okay. And here's its tail. Okay, here's your dog. Now, over here is, I don't speak Spanish, but I think the word for dog is perro. I might have said that wrong. I might be spelling this wrong too. Perro. Right? Now, when you first start and you hear this, these things aren't paired. So it takes time. There's this distance between these two things, obviously, right? You hear perro and you're like, okay, that means dog. You travel this distance and slowly, guess what? You arrive at this concept. But little by little, this moves closer. So that actually, instead of it starting, I'll just write a P for the initial, right? So instead of this being here, it's here, and then here, and then here, and then it's literally right on top. And then they're kind of one concept. And what happens little by little as you get to the 300 to 600 hours is this is going to keep happening where different words, different grammar structures, different concepts are going to pair themselves together the same way as English is happening for you right now, where you understand exactly what I'm saying just by hearing it, and the concept is coming at the same time as the sound is entering your ears, okay? So 300 to 600 hours, and also, I'll mention, this does depend on your language that you're learning and how far it is from your mother tongue. It does vary, but for the most part, these are just some benchmarks to illustrate the point, okay? So 300 to 600 hours, passive comprehension, so just hearing things and having things enter your ears begins to click, meaning that you start to have concepts alongside those sounds. You follow conversations you couldn't follow last month. You get better and better and better, and slowly you move towards your goal. 600 to 1,000 hours, speaking begins to emerge on its own. Again, this is the caveat of depending on the language you're learning. For some languages that are further from English, it takes longer. Some that are closer, it can happen quicker. And also, another thing that is not mentioned enough is it also depends on when you're doing your immersion and your input in these sorts of things. How dialed in are you, right? Are you the kind of person that's like on their phone like this? Like, are you on their phone scrolling as they're doing stuff? You know, are you doing other things? Are you focusing elsewhere? Or are you really, really dialed in? Because 100 hours of someone being super dialed in, maybe they have a coffee in hand and they're really focused, compared to the person who has a cell phone in hand, or they're also doing something else, they're doing some work on the side. You know, the 100 hours is going to be different. It's measured differently depending on the intensity that you do each one of those 100 hours with. So again, 600 to 1,000 hours with those caveats. Speaking begins to emerge on its own. Words come out without you forcing them. So you can just begin, the concept, because like I mentioned before, our ugly dog that we drew before, that ugly dog with the word perro, right? What's going to happen is slowly those things are so close together that now they actually can mirror one another. So when you think of the word, or when you want to say perro, you think of a dog. But when you see a dog, the word perro comes to your mind. And that's kind of the process by which the speaking naturally emerges. Okay, and then around 1,500 hours near native comprehension, again, depends on the language, right? Depends on the language, but another foothold that might be able to help you get an idea of roughly where you might be at how much time. Near native comprehension, that's real fluency, not 3 months, not 6 weeks, right? It takes time. Now, of course, if you could drill 1,500 hours in 3 months, then you might get there even faster. And again, I don't want you to necessarily get caught up too much on the specifics of the numbers. These are just good footholds to give you some motivation and give you some idea of what you can expect, depending on the language, depending on your intensity, depending on your focus, so on and so forth. Okay, the first 300 hours feels like nothing. This is the point that I really want to emphasize, is that if you haven't done 300 hours of comprehensible input, don't expect very much. And that's not to say you won't have results before that. You will. But 300 hours, just wait until you evaluate whether or not this is working by at least giving it 300 hours and then see, okay? If that sounds like a lot, it is a lot. But think about the way a child learns. I know some people hate when I bring this example up, and I still don't care. The point is that think how much immersion and how much input a child gets. It's thousands of hours, right? And while, of course, we don't have the advantage of the neuroplasticity that kids have, we do have strategy, meaning we can intentionally expose ourselves to the right things at the right times, even though our brains might not be as neuroplastic as, say, a 4-year-old. Okay, so yeah, 300 hours feels like nothing. That's the design. Your brain is building the library silently. okay? And that's exactly where 90% of learners quit. So as you're building this silent library, and I've mentioned this before, you've probably seen this in other videos, so I don't necessarily need to draw it out again, although I'm basically just going to do it really simply here. Okay, so here we have 3 buckets. This is going to be your ears, this is going to be your brain, this is going to be your mouth. Basically, you fill up this meter, and what happens is it overflows into the brain, and then when you fill up this meter, overflows over here, overflows out of the mouth. The point here is you fill your ears with as much content as you can, right? This is the building the silent library piece, right? This guy right here. You fill up your ears, and then what happens is it overflows into your brain, meaning what's in your ears starting to make sense to you. Your brain is decoding it for you because remember, our brains are pattern recognition machines. This is what they're designed to do. Next, we fill up our brain, and as we understand more and more and more of things, again, it begins to overflow out of our mouth. So we fill our ears, fills our brain, that overflows, comes out of our mouth, okay? And that's where most learners quit, to be completely honest with you. They quit because they're still in that filling their ears phase where their brain hasn't really clued in yet. And so it feels like nothing, but you're filling up that tank, right? That's all it is. It's not about, one day you can do it and one day you can't. It's not about that. It's the fact that once you fill up that tank, slowly it's going to fill up into the next tank, okay? The fix isn't more motivation. It's redefining what progress actually means, okay? So these apps may have trained you to think that if you show up every day and you do your 15 minutes while sitting on the toilet, then you're making progress towards the language. In some senses, maybe you are, right? I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. There's some things that might be good in these apps. It's been a little while since I've used them, months at this point, or maybe a year or two. But the point is that there might be something good there, but the reality is they will contextualize success as moving forward in the app, not necessarily moving forward in the language. So I just want to be super clear about that. So stop grading your sessions by feeling. What does that mean exactly? Well, stop asking yourself, or stop asking, did I learn something today? Because you can't necessarily feel the acquisition. If you're still in the filling your ears phase, you can't necessarily feel that. Start asking yourself, did I get my hours in? Okay, the hours are the only honest metric. At a certain point, it's just, did you do the input, right? And no pun intended, but did you do the input in terms of getting your comprehensible input, but also input in terms of, did you input your effort into the system? Did you do your input into the system that's ultimately going to yield the output in terms of results, right? There's a great podcaster named Chris Williamson. Some people really like him. I actually really like him. I think he's great. One thing he mentioned is he didn't really have any goals when he did his podcasting. He really just had a system and he adhered to that system every day. And then, one day he was one of the best podcasters with the biggest audience in the world, right? So again, it's about doing the input system, keep it going, keep the flywheel turning, and eventually it's going to output results for you. So the only honest metric of how far are you in the language when you're doing comprehensible input and when you're really in that first phase is, did I get my hours in or did I not? That is the real thing there. So every hour is a vote. Every hour is a vote for, do you want to be fluent or do you not? 1,500 votes and you're fluent. Again, depending on the language, depending on your intensity, but the point is, you keep going and you are going to get to where you want to be. So one little thing that I do want to show you here is if you pick the content you'd watch in English, then that's probably going to be good content for you. Meaning, if you don't know what to watch, find something you actually like, because the chances of you paying attention is a lot higher. The chances of you really retaining and being part of the system long-term and actually adhering to the system are higher. So pick content you watch in English anyway, not textbooks. They have zero replay value. What I mean here is that you're not going to want to read a textbook once and then read it twice and then read it 3 times. There are some people, better people than me, that might be able to do that. It's very hard to do. But a video in comprehensible input content, you might want to keep returning to it. And that's awesome. Repetition is a huge part of moving forwards. Okay. So basically with the textbooks, okay, you might do 1, 2, 3, whatever, and then you put it on the shelf and it'll just collect dust. Okay. Something I recommend is not Spanish for beginners channels. Okay, you're going to bore yourself out of the habit. If it's designed for learners, then it's designed for dropouts. Now, there is a caveat here that I want to mention, which is comprehensible input content creators, they actually make really engaging content. But if you go and watch like a grammar lesson that's just someone in front of a chalkboard just explaining something, you might like it. It's pretty rare that you will. It's pretty rare that I meet people that do. And so honestly, if it's designed for a traditional student, it might not be very engaging. And so it's going to be hard to adhere to this kind of a system, especially if you're aiming for 300 hours just to feel good about it, and then 1,500 to get to where you want to go. Again, depending on the language, depending on the intensity, okay? Pick shows that you already love, okay? Even if you only catch 30%. The other 70% is the work your brain is doing for free. So again, there's a bit of a balance here in terms of where Stephen Krashen says that we should have our I+1. So I+1 is basically just this idea that you are here. Let's draw it up here. This is you, where you currently are at the level in the language. And let's say, here's all the levels of the language, okay? Here's all the levels, and you're somewhere early on over here, okay? I+1 is basically just this guy. You want to be watching content that's basically a little bit above, maybe this, but definitely not this, at least not yet, Okay. So basically the idea is if you watch channels that you really like, then the chances, well, a couple things. One is you're going to enjoy it a little bit more, right? Obviously, because you like it. But second is if you watch content where you understand a decent amount of it, the idea here is that your brain is going to fill in the rest for free over time. Again, it's a pattern recognition machine. You do have to pick the right kinds of content, and we can get into that in another video. But the point is that if you pick content that you like, the chances of one, you paying attention, two, you enjoying it, and three, the fact that you might already be aware of the context that's going to inform you as to what the rest of it might be about is quite high. So it's very, very solid content to watch. Okay. Track the hours, trust the hours. I want to be very, very clear about this. If you're concerned about that you haven't made progress doing comprehensible input yet, and you're just like, I don't feel like I'm making progress, the way you feel is not as important as you tracking the hours. And I know a lot of kind of big coaches and motivators and things out there will say that the facts don't care about your feelings or whatever. Well, in this case, the reality is get to 300 hours before you even consider whether or not your feelings are telling you to keep going or stop. Just keep going regardless. Okay. So the time is going to pass anyway. I say this in so many videos, right? The time is going to pass anyway. 300 hours from right now is going to pass anyway. So you might as well bank the votes. You might as well have some of those hours be towards your goal. So that's basically the big point there. Okay. Drop the app, open the show, start the clock. Those 3 steps. That's basically the whole system here. That's basically it. Okay. And here's what's waiting for you on the other side. Just a quick piece of when you actually do this, what are you going to get? Well, somewhere past the 1,000 hours, the translation in your head dies, right? It could happen a little bit earlier, a little bit later. But the point is that the translation of trying to think and do these mechanical processes to understand the language, they begin to disappear. But you need to put in the time. That's why I say 1,000 hours, because that's a rough guess. That's a good, beautiful round number for you to target. And is that going to happen by tomorrow? No, there's not 1,000 hours between now and tomorrow, but there is 1,000 hours between now and 1,000 hours from now. So you may as well give as much of those hours as you can over to comprehensible input if this is your actual goal, to speak at a high level, understand at a high level. And yeah, okay. You stop translating, you just think in the language. This is what begins to happen. This isn't some secret technique that you can just flip a switch and you have. This comes with time. And every language after this one gets easier. Once you know the way this system works, you can apply this to every language. And then it's just a math equation. All this is an engineering equation. This isn't some secret nitty gritty thing that you need to unlock this special thing in your brain. You don't need that, right? This is just an equation. Okay. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you guys want the full system, you can take a look at the link in the description. That's where I personally help people get conversationally fluent as quickly as possible. So take a look at that if you're interested. And otherwise, like I mentioned before, guys, pick your show, start the clock, start votes, stack votes. Let's get going. So hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.